When examining the rich history of jazz music, the genre's racial past is inescapable. New Orleans, Louisiana, the birthplace of jazz in the early 1900s, was a melting pot for jazz music, which became a deeply melodic and powerful musical genre, primarily led by talented and innovative African American performers, and attracted a diverse audience. Although the genre has been appropriated by multiple cultures today, the racial divide between those who played and those who listened to jazz remained largely intact for several decades. Similar to blackface minstrel shows, white audiences enjoyed jazz as an impressive showcase of the dark-skinned African other, embracing African American musicians as performers rather than people. Any lyrical discussion of African American history and current black social and economic problems were subjects white audiences were not interested in hearing. Because of systemic racism, early jazz performers, such as Louis Armstrong and Fletcher Henderson, shied away from broad African American history and topical racism and segregation in their lyrics. Instead, they used their instruments as their primary method of conveying emotions through their music. As the 20th century progressed and the rights of African Americans became a topic that increasingly rested on the United States' national conscience, black jazz musicians became more lyrically daring, embracing the dark past African Americans had been subjugated to under white America. Through their lyrics, performers such as Max Roach and Charles Mingus used history and their own similar experiences to commentate on racial matters of their day. This project serves as a broad examination of how the portrayal of distinctly African American history and social problems have been presented through jazz music by black artists from the early 1900s to the 1960s. From subtle racial lyrics in the music of early masterminds, including Louis Armstrong and Billie Holiday, to the transparent racial messages found within the discographies of Max Roach and Charles Mingus, the public lyrical presentation of racial issues and injustices became increasingly blatant throughout the 20th century and was advanced in the mid-20th century by the developing civil rights movement. The well-regarded Louis Armstrong was among the first jazz artists to gain immense popularity in the 1920s, and the first to become popular for broad white audiences. Armstrong was well regarded by white America and was often given preferential treatment in wealthy circles that other African American artists were not afforded. Armstrong was criticized by African Americans for playing into the specific black entertainer role white audiences desired he fill, and not challenging conceptions of white dominance in his music. Armstrong's only notable song that discusses a racial topic is his 1929 cover of Black and Blue, although his performance can be interpreted as a form of internalized racism.
I'm right inside, but that don't help my case, 'cause I can't hide what is in my face. That does I say? How would it end? Ain't got a friend. My only sin is in my skin. What did I do to be so black and blue?
Far from a proud declaration of his blackness, Black and Blue appears almost as an apology for Armstrong's own skin and is a form of self-loathing. Armstrong appears as though he is desperate to be white or normal, rather than desiring black Americans be seen as true equals to white Americans. During the prime of Armstrong's career, strict segregation and Jim Crow laws were still in effect over much of the American South, and deep-seated national racism could be found in American cities, North and South, and Americans would not embrace racial lyrics. This strict national environment grants greater context to Armstrong's minimalist, radical action, although his lack of progressivism can still be viewed as a misuse of the platform his popularity provided.